Hello and welcome to another episode of Alternate Future of Adizzpro's WICSO. In the last episode, we saw a very big war break out, and we can see the continuation of it. We see over here on Dutch and Russian front lines, the Russians will push back some, and they have some good offensives, but the Dutch will also have counteroffensives and more offensives, and they will capture two more, or maybe not two more, but more cities, and they will push up into Estonia, or where Estonia would be. They also push towards Russia's capital, but will be quickly repelled, and they will also be successful in a naval, or not just a, but multiple naval battles over here in these islands, and this front line is going pretty well for the Dutch. We now see I can't talk again, I can never talk, the Seafoam Siberian country joining a big war once again, this time on the side of, what is this shape called? The trapezoid. They're going to be joining, I should just say, the Persian and Russian side of the war, and forgot what I was going to say. But this will bring consequences as this light blue country over here, with horrible capital placement, will join the war on China's side. But this is interesting because Seafoam Siberia lost land to China in their previous war, and they want it back. And so they are going to send their little tiny army out and capture some areas, as well as capturing another one of their cities that they used to have and protecting one. But over here, we actually see a lot of revolts going on in favor of Siberia, and this whole area will just go into chaos as rebellions are happening everywhere and are threatening a lot of cities, and they're trying to, of course, liberate themselves. And over here, it is not really the same as these. My brain is really slow for some reason. But light blue forces will cross the border, and these guys, they don't really have a big army. They barely have one. But they are going to push over into Seafoam Siberia. They still have a bigger army than them. And, however, this gold country was kind of prepared for this. And they're going to shoot right up and encircle their capital. And it's going to fall shortly after, just like this major city. I don't know why I have to clear my throat a lot, but as they send more forces over the borders, Russia will begin to do the same, as they will send their forces out just to capture these cities. And after cutting off a large portion of this light blue country, they will zoom right through it and secure a bunch of the areas. And after a while, Siberia will finally start to push back as they pull forces from over here. But China doesn't really have any forces over here, so that's good. But both Russia and the gold team will occupy these areas, and help Siberia get back on their feet. Russian and Persian forces accelerate into the Green Empire, Caspia, especially with Russia, because they know they have to knock out as many fronts as possible to face the Dutch, and their army is just not strong enough like this. And the Gold Country will also help beat back Caspia, as they're they're basically listed as the number one target, as Brazilian and Tibet forces will push up over here, capturing this area of northern Tibet and a city, as they link up with the Gold Country. This will have some consequences, though, such as front lines being pushed back quite a bit, and China will also accelerate their invasion of this Gold Country very heavily. But these are not the most populated lands, and remember, way back in World War III, these two used to be allies. Now going down here to Vietnam, though, China is steamrolling through them. They don't make a landing on that island, though. They are steamrolling through Vietnam, though. They absolutely hate them. But Vietnam will push back in these areas. And they will also help Persindia knock out this encirclement. And this is a lot of Chinese forces. That was an extremely large amount. And Persindian forces are even going to be pushed back and almost all the way out of China. But this is a lot of forces encircled, and that is very bad for China. Over here in Canada, one by one, governments are overthrown and replaced once again with democracies, as the neo-authoritarians lose their ground in Canada, or at least most of it. All these countries leave the neo-authoritarian order and will join back up with the new international order, which is still trying to find kind of like a new leader. But for right now, how it is and how it should be is kind of everyone has a say in everything. There's really no leader. The Dutch will now pull off a sneaky move, as they will force Sweden into their side of the war. And with this, they will force Sweden and actually these other two Scandinavian countries to begin invading Russia, and they will do just that as they go around into Finland, of course with help from the Dutch, and will capture part of the Finnish coast. With this, the Dutch will massively ramp up their invasion of Russia, as they send more and more of their army to take Russia out, as they will capture almost all of modern Estonia, and they are just destroying Russia, as Russia has their army to spread out, and that was their biggest fear, and now it's coming true, as the Dutch are just steamrolling over them, and they have captured a lot more major cities. Hawaii begins to rebel against China, and they will take back all of their islands with help from the Americas and this entire military, or both of these military alliances. These Canadian countries will also join this military alliance. But all of a sudden, over here in Tibet, a nuke will be dropped, and this sends shocked the entire world, as this was banned after, I believe, World War V. And no one knew that someone was manufacturing nukes, and it is China. And they are, we didn't do anything. And, even their own allies are shocked. And everyone has now found out that China has nukes as more bombs begin to go off. But where they go off is not expected, as bombs will start to hit Caspia and wiping out cities, or almost fully destroying them. And this is very crazy, as China wouldn't do this to their own ally, but Presindia would do it to their rival, and Presindia also has nukes. No one else has nukes, but China is furious, and they will drop one on a Presindian city, and following that, Presindia will drop one on a Chinese city, followed by more cities being hit, and China will drop a few on Vietnamese cities, and this is crazy, and the world is terrified because last time they had nukes, they blew each other up, and in response to this, the Dutch Empire will switch sides, kind of. They will open up a third side in this war, as they do not condemn China's actions. And after the Dutch switch sides, they will send their forces over here, down to Panama, and past Panama, all the way over to the Philippines, where they will make a landing on the Chinese Philippines, and they will quickly wipe these islands out. And China is terrified. Korea now advances more into China, now with more momentum from even the Chinese citizens, because they do not want their government dropping bombs everywhere. And Korea gains a lot of advancements. And the revolts only get worse over here, as this entire region will fall to rebellions in favor of Seafoam Siberia, and forces will now start to retake parts of the gold country that was lost, and China is not looking very good, as they're pushed all the way out of the gold country. And it's at this point that Presindia will unleash more nukes. And these nukes will hit several Caspian cities, and this will basically spell defeat for Caspia, as their military will basically go to the leader and say, we don't really want to fight anymore because we don't want our country to get nuked. And so, as forces ramp up their invasion and close in, we see the official surrender of Caspia under some conditions, like that they can still exist and still retain a good part of their land. And Presindia will actually, surprisingly, agree to pay reparations for the destruction they caused. As for this last little piece of Caspia, the gold country will occupy it. Speaking of the gold country, they will also move into northern Tibet, as they will take the capital, and Tibet will fall relatively quickly letting Tibet unify again. And there is one difference between India and China. India agrees to pay reparations to all of the countries that they nuked, other than China. And I mean, I guess, yeah, that is only the Caspian country right now, but they put that out there. Finally, this big army of China will be wiped out, as it is a huge loss, and the border between India and China will return to normal as both countries push each other out of their country. But Vietnam ramps up their invasion as an absolutely insane amount of their population starts to enlist, and they will push back a lot against China. Over here in Russia, though, it is not going good for the Russians, as the Dutch and Scandinavians are retaking Finland, and it's going very good, as the Finnish people would probably at least be free and neo-authoritarian rather than under control of Russia, who is also neo-authoritarian. But on top of this, Dutch troops will highly accelerate into Russia, as their troops will move rapidly closer and closer to the capital, as they also reach the Caspian Sea, and Russia is very overwhelmed. They don't know who to focus on. China is still the big enemy, and Siberia will actually leave the war. And at this point, though, it's too late for China. They are not doing very good, as gold forces are now advancing into them with the help of other countries, and there are huge revolts taking place in China calling for a new government, one that actually cares about them. And so a massive revolt will take place in their capital, and it will quickly spread throughout the populated areas, as basically China is just falling apart, and it really stems down to the fact that they were willing to use nukes to eliminate their opponents. Vietnam will fully push China out, and Korea will push even deeper into China, meeting up with this free Chinese state, and this gold country will also kind of fund this new free state, and yeah, it just basically takes over a large portion of China. Vietnam will advance back as they just start to steamroll over China, and they want to take as much land as possible. If you know their history, China and Vietnam absolutely hate each other, and India will now begin their advances back into China as they capture two major cities. One has already been nuked, but yeah, the rest of China will quickly fall to this free rebellion, and the government will be disposed of, leading to this new free country. And slowly, countries will leave the war, starting with Tanzania. And, the war is pretty much over. It's just the Dutch and the Russians fighting now. And, yes, slowly all of these countries will just leave. And is just the Dutch and the Russians now, as a peace treaty is kind of happening, but people are waiting for the Dutch-Russian war to get done, and the Dutch will kind of just halt and stop their invasion of Russia. I mean, they still continue, but it remains this way for a while. Russia is kind of thrilled to see this. Maybe they still have some hope. Scandinavian forces will still advance a little bit, but then it hits as just a tidal wave of Dutch forces start to run towards the Russian capital. They reach it, and they will just have so much momentum. They will go ahead and attempt to encircle the city, as it will go great, and the city and surrounding regions will be encircled, and the front line will be pushed back even more, as the Russians know now that they don't have any hope, and their capital will quickly surrender, as remaining forces up here will surrender over to the Scandinavians or the Dutch, and Russia will meet with the Dutch, and they will both leave the war, and thus this massive war is over, and it's time for a peace treaty. So this is what it was before the war, and here is the world after. That took me a long time. I'll do a short little rundown. So Tanzania gets most of the gold country, and the rest is made into a new country. The Philippines is divided up between the Dutch and the Persians. China is a little bit discombobulated. Russia gets some land from Caspia. Caspia gets split up a little bit. But China and Russia both lose their areas, their occupation zones over Mesopotamia, and the Dutch Empire expands heavily into Russia and creates 4 puppet states, and Hawaii is released from China, and they need a capital. And yeah, that's a quick little rundown. Also, Finland is released, and they need a capital as well, but there's a lot of capitals needed. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.